Geoffrey Thorne, Dexter Soy, and Marco Santucci continue their new direction for the Green Lantern Corps as all of the Lanterns learn what is to become of them now that they are part of the United Planets, as well as the explosive ramifications of the Guardians' choices that are revealed. Geoffrey Thorne again continues his really awesome new direction for the Green Lanterns, using this issue to flesh out what the new status quo for the Corps is, and so far, it's a pretty awesome direction. I love the idea of turning a huge section of the Corps into a type of spacefaring, adventuring group, and not only that, but their missions seem to be tied into the larger mysteries surrounding the new Omniverse and what has appeared in this universe now thanks to the Infinite Frontier. Turning John Stewart from a military leader into more of a adventuring expedition leader was a great direction for the character as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in a less militaristic light and what that causes him to do. The ties to the Future State books as well are quite evident here as we see the power battery explode, which was one of the big plot points in those books, and we are left to wonder what the hell does that actually mean for all the Lanterns, especially when we learn that most of the Lanterns have either been killed or sent somewhere we don't know where, leaving only the Fast Sector Lantern Joe Mullen and Kelly the Teen Lantern left on Oa, both of which will be a fun dynamic to continue through into next issue. Dexter Soy and Marco Santucci again shared art duties, but I'd have to say that Dexter was the real MVP of this issue. So many of the huge double-page spreads were done by him, and boy do they look fantastic, really selling this great epic scope and scale of the Green Lantern Corps, despite their numbers being cut in half basically. The pages depicting the explosion of the power battery and the formation of the exploration ship were just fantastic and chaotic, and I loved it all. Green Lantern issue 2 was another really awesome setup to Geoffrey Thorne's epic galaxy-spanning storyline, furthering the status quo shift the Lanterns are undergoing and leaving us on a cliffhanger has me really excited for the next issue. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10. Green Lanterns issue 2 finds John Stewart contacting all of the Green Lantern Corps, telling those who already don't know what happened on Oa and how 10 hours ago a terrorist attack took place and several Lanterns were killed rescuing civilians, but losses were kept at a minimum and the terrorists were locked up in the science cells awaiting interrogation. John tells the group that their rings will soon get info on the Queen, wanting them all to study up on her and her ilk, since they aren't going away anytime soon. John also reveals that while the primary attack was thwarted, there was a second strike and a Guardian inside the Conclave was killed before the United Planets Brigadiers took the shooter into custody. John remembers how when the man was arrested, he and the other Lanterns battled a giant dragon, finding its hide made of magic and their rings having no effect on it. The dragon's fire erupts all over the place as Gaia calls for Kelly to be taken out of the area, saying she's not helping, knowing that while Energy Ring doesn't work on them, rocks do, having his constructs pick up huge pieces of debris to hit the dragon with. The Thanagarian captain gets Kelly out of the area as Guy calls for Kilowog, who fires debris at the dragon, wrapping it up in rock and rubble, stopping its rampage in its tracks. Guy confronts the dragon, saying its partner killed a Guardian, so it's lucky it's still breathing. In the present, he knows that the gathered Lanterns have some questions, and John will now answer them soon, continuing his report about how Oa is now part of the United Planets, not knowing what that exactly means, but the Guardians are still discussing it. So he tells the Lanterns to keep up on their patrols and act like it's business as usual, telling Hal, Jessica and Kyle to keep the Crux world secure. John talks to Mogo, telling it to maintain a footing in the sector as he begins to discuss what the Lanterns need to wear to the funeral of their fallen brothers and sisters. 14 hours ago, the Green Lanterns partake in the funerals of their friends, and the Guardians talk about how many of the Lantern races are primates and many come from cultures where death is an end and an interment into the soil, but they see that as examples of symmetry and therefore beautiful, since they are made of the exact same quanta as the soul and the cosmic dust, and it's like the people know that there is no difference between a body that lives and one that dies. The Guardians know that they aren't primates or mammals and have a form thanks to their own choice, and because the younger species are put at ease by it. The Guardian Nemesis says that the word for the state of being primates called death in their language is called Tult, since they don't experience death like others do, but they do experience it, only rarely though, and for her brother Koyos who died, they have chosen one of their oldest death rituals schedules. She says that they will send her brother's matter into the power battery's core so his energies will flow through all of the lanterns. The coffin goes into the battery as Nemesini says that nothing is ever truly destroyed, only translated and recombined, and thanks to this, she knows that she'll see her brother again. Getting back to business, the Guardians say that with Oa being accepted into the United Planets, many worlds are uneasy with the amount of power they have and how wide their reach is. She knows that they must give up some of their power, and to do this, 1200 sectors will be vacated and their jurisdiction will be seceded over into the United Planets brigades, and the previous Lantern hierarchy will be erased and placed with new mission objectives and designations, and Lanterns without sectors will be reassigned. Salak is upset as senior administrator he wasn't informed of these changes ahead of time so he can make new schedules, but the Guardians say that no schedules are needed and changes begin now. The Lanterns rings all call out which sectors are defunct now and what becomes of those Lanterns. Simon can't believe what's happening as the Guardians say that their rings will get new updated parameters and the now 2400 sectors remain, and there will be no more Honor Guard, Torchbearers, Clarissi or Illustris, and now they are one core with no one greater or lesser than each other. Jessica asks if this is really happening as Kyle knows that this is wrong. Guy gets assigned as an Outrider, angering him as Kilord becomes a Quest Lantern. Halva tells John that the Guardians have to know that this would have gone over badly and if he wants some help he can be there, but John declines since he'll deal with this himself. John meets with the Guardians, telling them that he and the others are rather distressed about this news since it was just dropped on them. The Guardians say that their decision is complete and final as John tells them that the Lanterns have lives and some of them have had to abandon societies to serve the core. The Guardians remind him that the core is a voluntary organization and they can step away at any time without disgrace, but John wonders what would happen if over half of them do exactly that. But the Guardians say the rings will just choose replacements. John tells them by erasing sectors, thousands of parsecs are now left unguarded by the Guardians, and again they reassure him that the United Planets will deal with those sectors and Lanterns will serve as special attachments or as Outriders. John wants to know what an Outrider is, learning that they are like military escorts whose roles are negotiated on a case-by-case basis. John knows that spreading the human Lanterns across the universe was rather heavy-handed, but they remind him the Crux worlds need protecting and they are the best candidates for it. But John thinks for anyone other than Hal, who is on Earth, it means they need to upend their entire lives, but the Guardians don't care, wanting them to perform their duties. He wonders why this is so important to them all of a sudden, and the Guardians ask if he's ever wondered why his planet has produced 7 Green Lanterns in the span of one single human life, or why they chose Oa as their home, or why Mogo is sentient. John thinks they're all connected, and the Guardians know they are, and that they are vital, as every universe in the Omniverse has 7 Crux worlds, planets where wonder happens that spur the growth and evolution, and Earth is the crux of heroes. And when the current pantheon of the new gods fades, Earth will become the new 5th world. John can see from the holograms there's only 5 worlds, wondering where the rest are, so the Guardians say that one of these Crux worlds was Krypton, which they failed to protect, and the other one is John's failure, reminding him of Xanshi. The Guardians reveal that that's why they said that John has seen what they see and known what they know. They meant failure and grief as well, and Earth has generated the necessary heroes to protect the remaining worlds, and the Lanterns are those protectors. John reminds them that he and Guy weren't given planets to defend, and the Guardians say that Gardner's fate is elsewhere, as is John's, showing him the dark sectors, places where the Guardians cannot see in the universe thanks to threads of hypertime and underspace cyclones, all of which are recent changes to the areas and are clearly artificial, so John's mission is to investigate them. John knows there's a lot of territory there for one Lantern to cover, but they know he won't be alone. Looking outside, they find thousands of Lanterns gathering around the city, and the Guardians say that it's impossible for one Lantern to breach the barriers in the dark sector, but 1000 can easily, and he's going to need a ship. The Lanterns combine their forces and create a huge construct ship. John knew the Guardians were aware of this before the Conclave was called, so he accepts the mission, becoming the Green Lantern quest leader. 1 hour ago on Oa, Kelly can't believe that John is leaving her alone after dragging her all the way into space, wanting to do something. John says that she wants to be a Green Lantern, but Kelly corrects him and says that she is, but he knows that she isn't a Green Lantern, since being a Lantern is more than just having fights and adventures, like Kelly thinks. John says that it's about the people, knowing that it's a dangerous universe out there and there's lots of things wanting to hurt everything else, and the Green Lanterns are what stands between that hurt and the people. He tells her the Guardians are sending some of them to help people in space, and the rest of the Lanterns are heading out on their assignments soon, and the Guardians need to get a good look at her gauntlet, but Kelly again refuses. John reassures her that they aren't going to take it, since Simon is there to keep an eye on her and make sure that she gets back to Earth. But the girl needs to know that Simon can be a little hot-headed and thinks with his ring more than his brain, so John wants her to keep an eye on him while he keeps an eye on her. Kelly agrees to as John takes off, telling Kelly to be good as he joins the starship in space. Soon the alien Kelly met before comes by, wondering if she wants to go for a fly. Kelly is more than happy to, as she notices that something is wrong with the power battery. Suddenly, the central power battery explodes, obliterating the entire city and the people inside. Elsewhere, a cloaked being calls Oa to die quickly as the Linear Men, Mongol, and many others watch the power battery explode, and Kyle Rayner is left powerless in space. In the present, a lantern's ring tells them that they are entering the Oa system, finding another planet in the system as well, not knowing what it is. The bearer tells the ring not to hail the Kaluan and Thanagarian ships in orbit, speeding down to the planet's surface as they tell the ring to search for lanterns. They find the entire city has been destroyed, with no lanterns in range at all and many people injured, with radiation levels rising. The person soon spots some green energy, asking the ring again if there is any green lanterns, but the ring says that there is no green lanterns in the area. They tell the ring to widen the search as they check on the green shield, finding it belonging to Kelly, who shielded herself, the alien, and the injured Simon inside. The lantern is revealed to be Joe Mullen, who is told by the ring that there is no lanterns apart from her there as Kelly cries over the injured body of Simon.